Welcome
Okay.
back to the channel. We're playing 20 questions with.
Hi, I'm Lori Tata with Time with Tata. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Let's get into the questions. When I say fountain pen, what pen do you think of?
Mont Blanc 149.
All right. How did you get into pens?
Through my planning community, I saw a video from a woman in Canada. I don't know if you follow Helen, Coffee Monster Co.,
Yep.
but she does a lot of content on planning. Specifically, she's in the A5 cousin. Why can't starts with an H? Why can't I think?
Hobonichi.
Uh-oh, this could be a long one. Yes, so she does a lot of content around Hobonichi, and she did a video with a fountain pen, and I was really, really curious and trust her and loved her presentation of it and dove headfirst in.
Right. What was your first pen?
I ordered a couple at the same time. Initially, I did a lot of research on the TWSBI Eco, and I was really like gearing up to spend the $50 to get the rose gold trim, which,
Okay.
I vowed I would never spend that much money on a pen again. But in the interim, that took a little while to come in because I couldn't get that on Amazon. I think I got that through Goulet, maybe. And so in the meantime, I ordered like a Metropolitan and a Pilot Kakuno, and they came in first, but I wasn't as into those until it was the TWSBI that really turned me on to everything.
Fair enough. I like
Yeah.
my TWSBI. Mom's a fan of the Cockano, but I like my TWSBI. What's your
Yeah.
What's your current daily driver?
I I I have a short attention span, so I carry a lot of things around. Right now, what I've been writing with every day at the end of the day is this $17 Hongdian that my daughter gave me. Is it not so good?
It's great.
I had my husband write with a bunch of pens, and then he would say, "Okay, so how much does that one cost? So how much does that one cost?" Then he wrote with this, and he goes, "Don't tell me that that costs $17 when you're getting these other pens. I just don't understand." I'm like, "I know it's incredible." I also have the 1862 ones, the really pretty ones, like the white on the bottom. But my daughter gave me this, and she had Lori's Boston Found put on it. She ordered it off of Etsy. Lori's Boston Found is my
Yeah.
thrifting YouTube channel. That's like my main channel. And so when I wrote with it, I was like, this is a really good writer. Where the heck did she get this? And then I looked into it. So this always has carbon black ink in it. And that's what I do like my planning with at the end of the day. So I always have to have a pen loaded with carbon black. And this happens to be it right now.
Mine is the waterproof black from Sailor.
Oh, I haven't tried that yet.
It's a great. I
It's
love it.
great.
Yeah.
I love Sailor. Yes. Yeah, so that is with me, but then I have like kind of like whatever pens I'm playing with and carrying around with me. And usually they're newer pens I've gotten, or they're an older pen with a new ink I'm trying out. And I just kind of carry them around me like a pack rat throughout the house daily. It's weird.
I do the same thing.
Can you relate? Yes, good.
I have a vintage mug that I just carry around full of pens everywhere in the house.
Coffee in one hand, pens in the other.
Yeah.
I love that.
What's your favorite ink currently?
Ooh. I'm like looking around the room. Hmm. Oh, I've been really liking Lennon Toolbar Sesame Oil that I just got. That is really nice. I love those inks in the brown family. I also really like since I'm chatting with a girl from Canada, I put Wonder Pen's Ferris wheel press writing desk
Yep.
in my Pelican M1000, my Renaissance Brown, and like the shading that happens just out of the pen, beautiful. There's just that ink is really wonderful.
It is. I need to put
I
that
love
ink
it.
back in a pen. Maybe August.
Say
What?
again.
I said I need to put that ink in a pen maybe in August because I
It's kind of
do.
a fall color, but
It is kind of a fall color, but it's a really fun ink and it's a really fun shop.
I need to get there. It's on
You
my
should.
list. It's on my
Great
list.
store. What's your favorite brand of either pens or ink?
Um, I think by default, I've kind of like counted out my pens before. I don't know if this is a good way to determine it, but I feel like Pilot hits it all. Like it's got the new pens that are reliable, like the Kakuno, even though I don't really migrate to that. The Vanishing Points, I absolutely love. I love my 823. I feel like Pilot shows up for me all the time. As much
Not
as I love
yeah.
like my Mont Blanc and I love my Leonardo's and I love my Esterbrook's, I feel like that's just such a reliable brand at any price point. So I have to give it to Pilot.
And yet I thought you were going to say Pelican.
Really? I think I'm too new with Pelican and I've been loving Pelican so
You've been on
much.
such a Pelican kick. I thought you were going to say Pelican.
Maybe if you ask me in 6 months, but I feel like I have the Pelican Swipe.
Yeah.
And then the M200, I like, but I don't like love it. Like, I feel like that performance is so different than, the nice ones, the M800, the M600, and the M1000. But no, that brand is really on my brain these days. There's been a huge influx of them, but I just feel like Pilot is just like the consistent, so
Yeah.
reliable. Not as sexy, not as pretty as some of my Italian pens either, but super reliable.
Yeah. When you pick up a Pilot pen, you know it'll write well.
Yeah. And I do love my Vanishing Points quite a bit.
Vintage or modern?
Modern.
Do you swatch all your inks?
I try to. Yes. I'm not one to like keep things on the shelf. Like as soon as the unboxing occurs and I like dig in really quickly. So yes, I swatch them all, but I'm working on how to organize them. I have swatches everywhere, but I'm working on streamlining it. But I get too excited not to swatch everything. You?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the books, cola rings, and a Rolodex.
Mm. We should talk later.
We will talk later. Are there any pens where you daily drive the same ink, or do you always switch it up?
So as mentioned, I usually use carbon black with my Hobonichi. I remember the name of it now, which is actually Sterling ink now, my B6 planner.
Okay.
I have certain pens that I did do a video once, and now I've forgotten a lot of the combinations where I have certain pens that I do have an like affection for one ink in that pen. Like right now, the Pelican, I really do love that writing desk in there. I had dusted truffle in one pen for the longest time. I kind of get excited about one ink and pen combo and I'll share it for a while, but I don't think I'm that consistent across the board with anything. I'm too ADD.
Yeah. Do you have your writing samples in a way that you can flip through them when you're picking out a new pen, or do you just know how every nib writes?
I'm starting to try to group like colors together so I can look at them. I know how my nibs work. I'm pretty aware of that. So it really depends on, if I pull a Ferris wheel press ink that might be a little bit drier, or if I know a Pilot Iroshizuku is going to be well behaved, like I can kind of go from that. But more recently, I've been trying to zone in on the actual inks that I own and the subtle differences between them and how they work in the pens, because I buy too many inks and I need to just have a really good look at what I actually have. So I'm not like repeating colors, which I tend to do when I'm on a mission for one. Like I went through a Dusty Rose kick and I think and I don't buy many samples. That is like my character flaw. I'm a bottle girl.
I don't buy samples either.
You don't?
I trade samples. I do
I
random
should start
sample
doing that.
trades. But there's really nowhere other than Wonder Pens. Like you can't buy samples in Canada, and
Oh,
so I don't buy samples. If I'm buying something, I'm buying a bottle of it. And so
I just do it by choice, which is not always the right thing. I just like ink bottles. They're pretty.
they are pretty.
But then I end up with too many of the same color. So yes, the more I'm trying to swatch more, but I'm pretty well versed on how different nibs work in my collection.
Right? What's a pen you wish you could see in person?
Ooh, I have been wanting to see a vintage Omas Paragon in the Arco.
Okay.
It's totally my color family, and there's been so much hype over the old Omas, and I know
Yeah.
nothing about. I mean, other than the word on the street and
Yeah.
things that you hear. And I don't have a modern Omas pen either. So I have no baseline. I don't have anything to compare it to, but the celluloid Arco, I think is what I'm talking about, is really, really pretty. And I've seen a lot of them for sale. They tend to be really pricey online. So I would never just buy one blind. It would probably be something that I would try at a show
Yeah.
and buy from somebody trusted because I think most of them are vintage by this point. So I'm very curious about that pen.
Yeah, vintage Omos is definitely something interesting.
Right? Yeah.
Tried modern, but I haven't tried vintage.
How do you
Uh,
like modern? What do you have for their modern?
oh no, I've tried it at shows.
Oh, you've tried it. Okay.
I've
Yes.
tried it. I don't own it. I've tried it.
Okay.
Um,
I'm intrigued.
what's your current Grail?
I actually just got a pen that I never I did. It's only been out for a short amount of time, but my
Oh,
birthday.
I know what you're talking about.
Like as I posted it in my story. Did you see it?
I
Oh my
did.
gosh. It happened so quickly. So my birthday was yesterday, and Sunday, my husband and I went into Boston, and this is no buy July for me. And he's
I
like, "You
know.
picked July because it's your birthday, and you can get
Yeah,
presents." So I was kind of joking about it. And I got the writer's edition, the Jane Austen Mont Blanc writer's edition. It's the first any pen from Mont Blanc, aside from the 149 that I knew I wanted to get, but I bought those vintage. That I just looked at. I was like, oh gosh, that's it. Like no other character or writer has ever really spoken to me, or pen design for that matter. I just fell in love with this. And then I saw it in person, and I had sold my Muse pen.
okay.
I purchased the Greta Garbo Muse pre-owned, and I got a really good deal on it, and I sold it for like double what I paid. And in the back of my mind, it was still like less than what, like I sold it for 700 and
Okay.
people had it listed for like 2,000
Yeah.
on eBay because she was the first in the Muse series from Mont Blanc. And it's a beautiful pen. It was just too small for me. And I couldn't, the post wouldn't stay on the back. And anyway, so in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I can put that towards it. And it can be a little bit of a birthday thing. And we pulled the trigger, and it arrived on my birthday yesterday. So I don't even know what to say. I love it. I love it very much. So currently there's nothing nothing on the Grail radar right now, because I feel like this will hold me over for quite some time.
You did only get it yesterday.
I did. So ask me in a week. There may be something else.
No, I've been looking at the ink and also realizing that I just got a Mont Blanc limited edition ink like 2 weeks ago, and I don't need another one.
What did you get?
Around the world in 80 days.
Ooh, I would like. Is that a brown?
It is a brown.
I would love to. I was surprised. This is Jane Austen right here.
Mm.
It, I thought it was going to be more like the smoky blue on the pen, but around the world in 80 days, I've been
It's not
intrigued.
really brown. It's like a
Ooh,
grayish brown.
oh, that's pretty.
It is pretty.
I like that.
Yeah.
This was shocking to me because the bottle, when I looked at underneath, it almost looked like purpley. It's so, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Coco de Brazil Bourbon, which I
Okay.
really like. It's very actually. So this is what I need to do. I need to swatch them side by side
You
and
need
see the differences, because I think they're very similar.
what you need to do is you need to get the cola ring dippers that you can just dip in all your bottles, and so they
A
live on
what?
a. I'll afterwards. I'll show you.
Okay, sorry.
Wait,
Okay,
I've explained them in too many videos. Too many people have
okay.
gone, "What are hanging up behind you?" They've
Oh,
appeared in too many videos.
okay. And I can see we're leaning towards the 20-minute video already. I'm sorry. I'm too interested in your stuff.
People enjoy these. Whatever.
This
Um,
is fun. Okay.
what pen would you recommend to a beginner?
Uh, I would say a Twisby, but I'm torn on that because that requires someone to get the bottle and the
Yeah.
piston fill, and um the Hongdian I would recommend. And a lot of people don't like that answer because it's Amazon and it's not supporting our local small businesses of all the companies that I love and cherish. But I still think that's a really great pen, and I think people are more likely to just like jump on Amazon and spend $20. Um, I haven't used enough of them to know if they're all consistently good. So that I'm a little
Yeah.
apprehensive about. There's no like guarantees with that. I could have just gotten lucky. I love Kaweco Sports. I think they're cute and they're affordable and anybody can get them. People can get them in a variety of colors and now even price points if they want to go for a piston. I don't know if I'd recommend that first because that's expensive, but I would do Kaweco All Sport. Final answer.
All right. What ink would you recommend to a beginner?
Pilot Iroshizuku.
All right. What advice do you have for somebody wanting to try out fountain pens who might be intimidated by them?
Uh, just again, I just rip off the band-aid. I say that with anything. With someone who's intimidated to start a YouTube channel, I'm like, just do it. Like fountain pens, just do it. Like I would ask them what they're intimidated by and then, try to get them I guess a Kakuna, like something that's user friendly is not too intimidating. And I love that the Kavecos, they'll come with a little cartridge, you can pop it in. And a cartridge is kind of a less intimidating thing too. If you can just pop a cartridge in and let it go, I think people are good. Just go for it.
Yep. What filling mechanism do you think is most interesting, regardless of if you like to use it or not?
I think back fills are really fun. Just like, see the ink come up. Yeah, back fills are fun.
What nib size do you prefer to write with?
Um, I do like a juicy broad, obviously, but it really depends on the company and the brand. My default is a medium. I like a medium nib. I'm not a big extra fine person. Like that's probably what I use the least, but I appreciate like my E95S that writes in an extra fine, and I can put that in the smallest little grid in a Hobonichi weeks and have no problem. But my default is probably a medium, and when I'm exploring ink, I really love stubs and broad nibs.
Right? Is there a style of nib you love or find interesting but would never actually use?
Um, I don't I don't know. No, I would try anything once, but I think I struggle with my flex nibs. I wish I was better at them. I'm trying to slow down the pace at which I write so that my flex skills can improve a little bit. So I wish I was better at flex nibs, and I don't reach for them as often because of that. Because I feel like my handwriting is not as good as I wish it would be with a flex pen, with a flex nib.
Right? Do you always use the same paper? If so, what paper?
No, I bounce around a bit because I write every day in a journal, and it's typically like a Leutram notebook. Right now, it was just kind of a notebook that I found at the Dutch Pen Show, brand I've never used before. I have my Sterling ink that I write in. I have loose leaf Tomoe River that I do my ink swatches on. I have Rhodias that I'm like when I'm just messing around. I have a lot of variety, but I would prefer Tomoe River. I mean that's I would say my favorite. But I doodle too much and I have too many scrap notes going on to always make it super high end.
Right. Do you have a least favorite ink or ink color family?
Um, his favorite ink. I'm looking at my wall of inks. Y- Yellowsy, yellowish, I guess. Although I like gold. Um, I'm the worst. I can never give a straight answer. There's so too much variety. I mean, I lean towards warm colors, so like goldens and browns. I have, what I haven't been loving lately. It's not really a specific color. I haven't been really loving overly saturated inks of any kind. I've been shying away from that the further I go and just really enjoying just seeing some variation in color uh, in my writing, not necessarily in an ink swatch. So I think that's why the writing desk has been a favorite because it is a pretty dark ink, yet you see lightness in it when you're writing, and I really like that. So like Emerald de Chivor,
Yeah.
that was like something I was super excited about in the beginning, but it is so saturated. That is like not messing around ink, and I appreciate the color of it and it's pretty, but I kind of look at them like, oh, that kind of feels like work right now in my pen. So I feel like super saturated inks I haven't been vibing with them lately.
Right? Thanks for playing 20 questions.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, you're very welcome. That was really fun. Thank you.